If you want to win faster in business, in your personal life, in fitness, in relationships, you need to understand one thing. Overwhelm beats resistance. Focus beats force. And direction beats power. Today you'll learn about the strategy that flipped military history on its head. And when applied correctly, flips your life as well. It's called Blitzkrieg. And before we move forward, we need to understand exactly what that word means. Blitzkrieg, literally translated from German, means lightning war. It wasn't a formal doctrine in a textbook. It was a method, a way of thinking. And it's something that Hitler used during the war. A strategy built on 3 pillars. Speed, move faster than the opponent can respond. Concentration of force, hit one point with overwhelming power instead of fighting everywhere. And then shock, break the enemy psychologically before they understand what's happening. The concept was simple. Don't grind forward slowly. Break through quickly, deeply and unexpectedly. Overwhelm before the enemy can reorganize. Blitzkrieg wasn't about having the strongest army. It was about having the most focused army. And by the end of this episode, you'll understand why breakthroughs don't come from doing more. They come from doing less, harder in the right place. So close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you're standing in a dim, smoke-filled planning room in 1940. Maps covered the table. Radios crackled in the background. The future of Europe hangs in the balance. You're not a foot soldier. You're not a general on the ground. You're the strategist, the architect of a plan so risky, people would later call it insane. France was fortified behind the Maginot Line, a massive chain of bunkers, steel and reinforced walls stretching the length of their border. Every expert believes the same thing. You cannot break France head on. So generals plan wide attacks. They spread their forces. They expect slow, grinding warfare like in World War I. But you look at the map differently. Your finger doesn't trace the strongest point. Instead, it pauses over a region everyone dismissed. The Ardennes. Densely wooded, twisting roads, fog-thick valleys, hilly, uneven terrain. The French believed no tanks could get through it. Most commanders agreed. It was considered naturally impenetrable. But you ask a different question. But what if it's possible? That single question becomes the hinge of history. You lean over the table. Every expert says no. Logisticians warn it's impractical. Your colleagues whisper the word reckless. Your enemies would never expect it. Good, because that's exactly why it will work. If you force everything, tanks, infantry, air support, into that one unexpected region, not only will you break the line, you'll break their strategy. The world would call it Blitzkrieg, lightning war, a sudden, focused, overwhelming strike at the exact point of weakness. For you, it's simpler, the power of a unified direction. Whether you realise it or not, you are currently living like France in 1940. We zoom out of history and zoom into your life. You have your own Maginot Line. Comfort zones, habits, identities, excuses, overextended commitments. And when challenges come, what do? You defend everything at once. You try to improve multiple goals at the same time. You divide your attention across 10 different battles. You scatter your energy and wonder why nothing breaks through. Because scattered effort creates friction instead of momentum. Breakthroughs don't happen because you try harder. They happen because you attack the right point with everything you've got. Your life doesn't change when you spread your energy. It changes when you concentrate it. I want you to imagine a different scene now. You're in Fox River Penitentiary, the world of Prison Break. Michael Scofield doesn't escape by scratching at every wall. He doesn't panic and run around hitting random surfaces. He studies, he maps. And he finds the one structurally weak panel, a spot nobody pays attention to. If you've watched it, you remember the scene where he uses that simple egg beater and pierces holes to weaken the wall. The precise points that weaken a wall. Not the whole prison, not every corridor, just that one vulnerability that collapses the entire wall to allow him to escape. Whether or not that could really work isn't the point. The metaphor is the power. You don't break the whole wall, you break one tile. You exploit one weakness. You push through 1 inch and the whole structure opens. This is how breakthroughs work. Not from everywhere, but from force in the right place. That's Blitzkrieg. So how do we apply Blitzkrieg to our own lives? Well, in business, most entrepreneurs fail because they try too many offers, chase too many audiences, use every marketing channel, say yes to every idea, spread thin teams that don't do anything. But the successful ones, they identify one weak point in the market, a gap no one is filling, a pain point no one is addressing, a frustration customers complain about. Then they hit it with everything. One offer, one funnel, one message, one distribution channel. Modern Blitzkrieg. What about in fitness? People who start fitness feel like storming every border at once. Running, weightlifting, high intensity stuff, supplements, stretching, calorie counting, new routines, new equipment. And then they burn out. But transformation happens when you choose one constraint. For some people, that constraint is protein intake. They need to hit, 150 grams of protein a day, and weight loss, muscle gain and recovery all accelerate. For others, they focus on compound movements, squats, deadlifts, bench, overhead press, pull-ups. A body transformed through 5 key lifts. For athletes, the constraint might be explosive power, short sprints, plyometrics, kettlebell swings. Improve the weakest physical link and the whole system upgrades. Blitzkrieg your fitness. 1 point of penetration, total transformation. And then you have personal growth. Maybe your weak point is confidence or self-belief or time management or consistency or emotional regulation. Maybe it's avoiding discomfort or distraction or screen addiction. Strengthen the right weak point and every other part of your life improves simultaneously. Breakthroughs rarely come from building new strengths. They come from removing the bottleneck blocking everything else. Now, before we close, there's a question people often ask. Was the Battle of the Bulge the same as Blitzkrieg? And the answer is no, because it's Blitzkrieg style thinking, but the Battle of the Bulge happened later in 1944. It was the Germans' last major offensive, launching another surprise attack through the Ardennes, the same region used 4 years earlier, in 1940. It was an attempt to recreate the Lightning War, the Blitzkrieg Strategy, but this time the Allies were stronger, prepared and had air superiority. So while it used the same idea, a concentrated strike through a weak point, it didn't have the shock factor. It wasn't like the original Blitzkrieg success. It's a good distinction. So imagine 2 beams of light. A floodlight, wide, bright, scattered. It illuminates everything, but burns nothing. And a laser, narrow, focused, coherent. It burns through steel. Most people are floodlights. Their energy is wide, unfocused, diluted. Blitzkrieg is the laser. It's aligned, it's compressed, it's direct, it's unstoppable. You don't need more brightness, you need coherence. So now you stand where that strategist stood in 1940, staring at your own version of the Ardennes. Everyone around you thinks the path you're considering is too narrow, too uncertain, too unconventional. Good, that's why it will work. The breakthrough is never at the obvious point. It's always hidden in the forest, always in the bottleneck, always in the vulnerability. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more talent or power. You need direction. You need a weak spot. You need one point of attack. Then you need to commit everything to it. Your life can change faster than you imagine, but only when you stop spreading your army thin and start unleashing Blitzkrieg on the point that matters most. Because sometimes the fastest way to win is to stop fighting everywhere and start fighting where victory is inevitable.